Welcome back to my podcast. My name's Lorena and this is the Pooch. We are on episode 63. Do I have a massive update for you this week? Not really. I'm not feeling amazing right now because my house is a mess. That's nothing new, so do with that what you will. I have been wanting to talk about this for some time and I'm awkward about talking about it because I don't want to offend anybody and I know it will. But mums groups. I want to say something carefully because I know for many women, mums groups have been life-saving. For many women, mums groups are where you found your people, where you found your village. I don't want to turn anyone off mums groups. That's where, for some people, real friendships form. And I genuinely love that for them. Like, I honestly, truly love that for them. That's just not my experience. I have mentioned in previous episodes, and I'm pretty sure I've also spoken about it on YouTube somewhere, that I attended my local mums group after I had my daughter, my first baby. She was 4 weeks old and I found it impossible to connect. I don't know why. So in my local mums group, and I think that's how it works in most areas, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but they group mothers on the ages of their baby. And my group was anywhere from 0 months, like days old, to 12 weeks old. So if you're not a mum, that sounds like, well, same. A 1 month old and a 3 month old is the same. If you've got babies though, you know that there's a huge difference between a 3-day-old and a 3-month-old baby. So when I went to my first mother's group, my daughter was 4 weeks old. I was surrounded by mums who were in similar-ish seasons to me. Obviously, some had that was their second baby, some it was their first, some were completely nervous, some were completely confident. Our only thing in common though was that we had recently birthed a baby. To me personally, it felt quite competitive, and that could be very much because of my own insecurities, I have to say, but it was definitely a show of the best pram, the best baby bag, the most organized, the most put together, and I could feel it, again, probably my insecurities, but I could feel it from the moment that I walked in. And the bigger way it felt actually competitive was in milestones, and I know how dangerous that can be. I have a brother with a disability, and comparing milestones of children, I know, was torturous to my parents, and also I think is one of the reasons that they struggled to connect with other parents when my brother was very young as well. And is that off-putting sense that we're there to basically show whose baby is further ahead, whose baby rolled over first, whose baby is feeding best. It gives you this unnerving feeling that there might be something wrong when that's likely not to be the case. So after the session, the mothers group, there was a morning tea held, and I disappeared before it even started. And you know what? Although I chose to leave, like I literally grabbed my baby and walked straight past. I put my head down, walked straight past and just walked out. Although I chose to leave, I did have this brief moment of hope that someone would ask me to stay. That sounds really sad. I felt so insecure and so intimidated. The thought of walking over to a seemingly established friendship group just intimidated me so much that I just bailed. I think personally, there's something that happens in certain mothers or motherhood spaces that is super subtle. No one says it out loud and it's not meant with any harm, but the atmosphere somehow quickly communicates, you're a mum now. This is the primary and sometimes only lens with which you will be viewed in this environment. Conversations orbit around sleep, around feeding, again, around milestones, postnatal recovery, routines, development, and while those things deeply matter, and of course they do, that's why you're going to the mums group in the first place, because you want to share those experiences, you want to feel connected, you want to feel seen. When it comes to like the entire framework of connection, of building relationships, and of, in the dream world, building your village, I find that those environments is where the other parts of you potentially might shrink. I don't know. I'm so scared that I'm pissing people off today. I really am. I'm sure I am. I've been trying to work out why or what it is specifically that really intimidates me about these spaces, and what I guess makes me feel like I just couldn't connect. I just couldn't click with it. Especially when I go on so much about the importance of the village, it seems to be like I'm conflicting with everything that I'm saying, right? The village is what we need, and here are a group of women who are meeting to seek that sense of solidarity, to seek that sense of shared experience. There's something that sits funny with me about that. And again, a reminder, a disclaimer, and I'm going to probably do this a few times during this episode because my biggest fear is to piss people off. It's not a judgment from me. In no way am I judging you if you attended a mother's group, if you connected, like I said in the beginning, if you connected, if that's where you found your people, that is so good for you. And I wish I wish I had the same experience. If that worked for you, I love that for you, but I just know that there are many who haven't had the same experience and did find it really hard to connect. And this is why I think people like me found it difficult to connect, to not get out of mothers groups what they were expecting to get out of it in the first place. I was craving community. I was craving genuine connection with people. And to some extent, in my experience anyway, it felt a little bit performative. I understand why mothers groups exist. Basically, it's to make up for the absence of a village, or it's to recreate a village. There is no alternative, I guess, to a collective of women who are all in the same season of life, who all get together, who all support each other through this life stage. That is why mums groups exist. But there is an element of it that for me felt like a staged community. Like I said, it felt performative. It almost felt like a forced village. So unless you're one of the lucky ones to connect with somebody there, it feels like you're all there, you're all in the same season and something's not clicking, but that's it, that's your village and that's where we're at. I sound like such an ungrateful human for even questioning this, but I just know that for so many women it didn't work, and for so many women it felt like a forced community. And I think when it feels forced, that's when it voids the whole sense of a village in the first place. So many women are disappointed in their mum's group experience that they stop showing up. So many, like I know many women who haven't even been to one, like they've contemplated it, they've thought about going and they're like, meh, it's just too, like it feels too intimidating. Or women like me who were like, yeah, I'll give it a go. But then after one, it was like, it didn't really hit the spot for me. Because for me, it felt so intimidating as well. Something about it made me feel even more isolated. So something about going into environment where there are established, you know what, maybe it could also be that my mother's group was, like I said, it was kind of like you were there between newborn and 12 weeks old. So there were women who had been going repeatedly, religiously for weeks for the 12 weeks. My daughter was only 4 weeks old. So maybe because I was one of the newer ones and I didn't give that opportunity to connect with other people, there were other women for who it worked really well. But I felt more isolated leaving that environment than I did beforehand. I felt like if I thought I was clueless already, if I thought I didn't have my shit together, if I thought by 4 weeks, surely I should be doing better at this, I walked out of there feeling like, nope, and I still have no clue, and everyone around me seems to know better. Everyone around me has their shit together and I don't. So I felt worse after attending and I felt more isolated once I walked out. So I just want to clarify, I think this is likely to be the case for women who don't already have the sense of an existing village, or for those women who go to a mother's group expecting to get village out of it, expecting that is going to fill the gap. A village, in my opinion, is a natural human experience. Humans are made to be in those environments. We don't live in them these days. I don't. Yes, I have my supports, but I don't live in a village-like community. And so trying to find that in a mother's group, I think, is where for some people like me who find it difficult to click with other people, it falls short. And then you leave feeling like, oh my God, so if I couldn't even get a village there, where's it going to happen? How's it going to happen? If a woman is well connected and has her circles, has her relationships and a solid support network, she is part of someone else's village, someone else is part of hers. Her friendship circles include the partners. You know, they're basically families who connect with each other, families who coexist and support each other really well. She might not lean on a mother's group so heavily in order to look for the village that she already has in her life. She might not turn to a mother's group looking for village because she's already got that in her life. And that might actually be the sweet spot. That might be where a woman attends a mother's group and has a positive experience because she wasn't looking for village in the first place. It's hard to get village in a group of people that you don't know, that haven't gone on a journey with you, that you're not coexisting, you're meeting once a week. It's hard to connect. Well, it is for me anyway. But if you don't go looking for that, if you're actually well connected and well supported, maybe then the mother's group experience is perfectly suited to you. Why I think this is because a village is organic. So a village is built over time, over generations. A village is multi-generational. You know, it includes men, women, and children, populated by people of all ages, and is rooted in shared values, not shared birthing ages. In a village scenario, it would be ideal if a mother was sharing her current season with one or a few who are living in the same season. But there are also so many other facets of human life. So she would also be sharing that with people who love her children as well. She would be sharing that space with people who allow her to be inspired and motivated to work on her goals, who encourage her to be healthy, who share common interests and common hobbies, and there'd be opportunities for her to play valuable roles in other people's lives as well. When you build an organic connection with people, it's because there are many things in common, right? When you build an organic connection with somebody else, you're connecting based on the things that make you you, your humor, your values, your beliefs. When it's forced proximity disguised as intimacy, so you're here because we care and you're sharing very vulnerable, very personal stories, potentially at the depths of the most psychologically challenging time in your life for a lot of women, but there's no true connection there, at least not initially. And I think the reason I left my only attempt at mothers group at feeling sad was because a part of me had this belief that someone would care enough to ask me to stay. Like I said, super sad because I literally walked out. But I felt like I was going to meet friends and I was going to connect with people and I was going to bypass, building a connection and building a relationship and just have this circle of women that we just knew and trusted and supported each other so well. How ridiculous of me, obviously. But there was no chance for a genuine connection. Obviously, no one seeing a sad mum walking out of a of a venue is thinking anything of her. So it did feel a bit forced for me. Like I said, you're sharing the most intimate struggles and possibly the hardest time of your life with complete strangers who wouldn't notice if you were there in the first place. And I think that almost leaves you open and vulnerable and then kind of shut down instantly. I don't know, maybe I'm sounding really, really dramatic about this. Maybe I really had a traumatizing first experience. A village is rooted in genuine and mutual concern and care for each other. Not me and my baby in isolation from everyone else and kind of experiencing motherhood parallel to each other. I also struggle with mum groups being, I guess, the main source of interaction with others. And I think at a very isolated time in your life, that's part of the reasons mothers groups exist, is so that people can connect, so that women are not stuck at home with a baby 24/7. Is the idea is that you get out of the house, you go in person, you meet them once a week. But this being a woman's main source of interaction can also start to feel like it's a little bit identity limiting. And I know, again, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to piss people off here. I'm not saying that a mother is nothing, obviously. I'm not saying that being a mum is a limited identity. Actually, it's the most important role in the universe. But as long as a woman experiences motherhood in conjunction with the rest of her full self, I think when you're in a space of women which entirely surrounds one facet or this one facet of your life, and that's the fact that you birthed a child, it can feel like a reduction of other parts of you if you don't manage to connect with anyone else on a personality level, on an interest-based level. When an entire conversation surrounds sleep schedules, weaning off the dummy, whether to swaddle or not to swaddle, milestone comparisons, postnatal recovery, how's your scar, routines and development, it can start to feel like the entire framework for your connection with them. And of course, these are really important things to discuss, especially when you're in the thick of it and that's all you can think of. But what about all the other bits of you? How is this connection forming? Again, if people go to mothers groups to find connection with others, I think there's something missing. At most, we can connect on agreeing with an approach or a belief around something to do with caring for our baby. So if you happen to breastfeed and you meet another mum who breastfeeds, we've got something else in common. But okay, I don't see the human connection there. I don't see the personality connecting there. So really, to me, a mum's group is basically like a class, like a classroom or a lecture theatre on how, imagine attending a lecture or a tutorial on how to care for your baby. When you go to uni or school, you're all there to learn the same thing. And whether or not you make a connection with someone, whether or not you make a friend is kind of up to coincidence. And it's up to meeting someone who's got another interest, another personality trait that connects the two of you. I don't connect with people on things that are just attributes, right? I don't connect with brunettes any more than I do with blondes. And the fact that we have birthed children, yes, it's a huge experience we've been through, but there's just so much more to us that I feel like that one factor is not necessarily what's going to connect people and form lifelong bonds and friendships. What connects me to others is shared aspects of our personalities. Are you chaotic, disorganized, try bloody hard, but still seem to just not get your shit together? You fuck up daily. That's someone I can connect with. It makes me feel seen. It makes me feel like I'm not alone. It makes me feel like actually we're in this together, because that's a real, if I'm talking to someone who's like, I just could not get my shit together this morning, and I'm like, same, because that's me every single day, then we can move beyond, okay, we know we're mums, but actually we can support each other, or we can connect on a different level. That is a village conversation, right? Because we can find a way to step in. I can find a way to step in and help you. You can find a way to step in and help me. And at the very least, I can make you feel normal. Or I hope I make you feel normal. I hope, by the way, when I say I'm chaotic and I don't have my shit together, people are not listening to this going, well, that's on you, because I managed to have my shit together every single day. Geez, that would void the entire purpose of my podcast, wouldn't it? My identity completely went out the window when I had a baby. I didn't feel inspired. I didn't feel like I had anything interesting to offer. I had no idea what my beliefs were at some stage. I felt like there was nothing to me aside from being a mum, and I felt so bored with myself. And I know it sounds really tragic, and I want to just reiterate for the millionth time, this has nothing to do with the love that I feel for my children. I've been obsessed with them from the day they were born. I will always be obsessed with them. They're my universe. But I'm talking about how I felt about myself. I just had no sense of me. Like, who was I? I think because of this, I became allergic to anything that was like mum, anything. Mums and bubs classes. Also, those names just, they give me the ick somehow, because who's the target audience? When you talk about mums and bubs classes, you sound, I don't know. To me, it sounds like you're talking to a baby. Like, that's not how, I don't know. It just sounds weird to me. Who's the target audience there? It's not the baby. It should be the mum. So anyway, I think that the talk just icks me a little bit. Oh, I don't know why. At the time, I was really not opposed. Like, I felt the ick about anything mum or mummy related. You know, when I heard the terms motherhood, or God forbid matrescence, oh my God, I could just picture myself in, like, you know, those floor length flannelette nighties and just be disheveled for the rest of my life. Like, that is so unsexy, so not interesting. Those concepts solidified this idea that I was not interesting. I was just a mum, and there was nothing else to me. So when I, coming across mums groups, mums chats online, mum targeted workout classes, I didn't feel empowered by those. People would always send me like, oh, you're struggling to get some exercise in. There's a local mums and bubs, yoga class. And I'd be like, yeah, okay. Because the first thing I want to do when I'm struggling to get a chance to myself, when I'm struggling to connect with people, when I'm feeling isolated, when I'm feeling unattractive, and I can't even look at myself in the mirror, is get all my shit together, organize bags, sort out my baby, and show up to a class that I'm going to A, struggle with because I have no health or fitness at the time, and B, there's no break. Like, I couldn't feel like that was enough of a break. I didn't feel like that was connecting me in any way to a version of me that I was looking for. So I couldn't. I just find that I felt reduced. And again, sounds horrible, but I did feel reduced. Please try not to be offended by what I'm saying. If all of this worked for you, again, I love that for you. And I honestly think this is more a reflection of me, of my struggles, of my psychology at the time, than of the fact that these groups just are not it. I think they do work for some people, but I know this conversation has a place because I know that there are many, many women who felt and feel exactly like I did. And I think it's because women like me were hopeful for something different. We're relying on them for something more. I was so low, I think, that I was hoping for a miracle. And that's not it. That's not what it is. It's an information session where you can connect with people if you're lucky. That's what a mum's group is. An empty person entering a very niche space, trying to become filled with drive, self-love, inspiration, and so on, is very likely to walk out of that environment even more lost, because that's not what mum's groups aim to achieve. The value in mums groups 100% is a shared season. And I totally can see that. You're not alone in your season. When you're having conversations about what your baby's going through, what you're going through, your postpartum recovery, all that stuff, it's actually surprising how many people experience the same things. Even when you think about pregnancy and you had the apps, it was like at 22 weeks, you should be experiencing or you might be experiencing these things. It's shocking how common pregnancies can be. It's shocking how common development is in most cases. It's shocking how common postpartum experiences are. But how real is it that someone's going to sit in their most fragile state in a room full of women who seem to be having their shit together and be vulnerable and share honestly the struggles that they're facing? I didn't. When I go to visit my mum or a really good friend, I can guarantee you that I come as I am. The pram is full of the crumbs from the snacks we ate yesterday. The nappy bag is just stuffed and things are just shoved in. The spare clothes are not folded. I probably forgot the wipes again. That is me. Send me to a place where women are all showing up with the best foot forward, all their kids around the same age as mine. And I'm already expecting fancy prams. I'm already expecting hot active wear. I'm already expecting all the things that the highlight reel shows you. You think that I want to be the only one with a chaotic setup? No way. Like, I'll do my best to mask that shit, but I'll still be struggling inside. I have been that mum in many situations where I've gone somewhere with my kid and I've forgotten the bloody wipes. And here I am with someone who's got, an entire first aid kit on hand and everything you could possibly need in case of an emergency. Like, how could I be such a dud? It puts you in a position of feeling really shitty about yourself. And this is the performative bit that I just can't keep up with. That's why my actual village, my true friends, get the real bits of me. And I'm so sorry to my beautiful friends. I'm so sorry to my family because you have seen it all. The me that cried constantly, not because I just had the baby blues, but because I felt like every decision that I was making was ruining my baby somehow. I was scared to pick her up when she cried. I was scared not to pick her up when she cried. I was bombarded with information about what to do, what not to do. It left me questioning everything. My instincts just went out the window because I was so overwhelmed with the right way to do things, the wrong way to do things. I questioned all my decisions. It just got too much for me. So in the early days, I was just constantly crying. My true friends got the version of me that was happy and willing to share how chaotic I am, how disastrous I can be. And the fact that we would share those things with each other, actually allowed me to feel so much better about myself. I remember one day down the road from where I had originally attended my one and only mums group, I met with two of my friends at the park. We may or may not have had a glass of wine hidden in a keep cup and ordered some Uber Eats at the park. And we just spent the whole day laughing our heads off at how chaotic we were. That's the real me. And that is the me that my friends get. That is the me that feels comfortable and confident in, like, thank God I'm not the only disaster, because we're all kind of disasters together. If I was lucky enough to find this type of connection or this type of realness in a mum's group, things would have been very, very different for me. And maybe just me not trying hard enough, the fact that it scared me away, I got intimidated, is obviously why I didn't find a connection with anyone there. I didn't like myself when I was there, and I felt worse when I left. It didn't do me any favors. I left feeling more clueless and less organized than when I arrived. I think when proximity, or when your current season is the only glue, the only reason, the only thing you're basing a connection on, there is subtle pressure to connect. We should relate because we're going through the same experiences. We should become friends. And when it doesn't click naturally, like for me, you start wondering if there's something wrong with you. And I think that's exactly what happened with me. Clicking doesn't happen easily for me. I am too awkward, too scared to be judged. I have no filter, and I will tell you how chaotic I am, and then I instantly regret it unless unless we match point. If I go into, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot, and you're like, ooh, that would have really sucked, and there's nothing more, then you don't go, you think that was bad? Check out what I did last week. I instantly regret sharing and I feel shriveled up into a tiny ball. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a dud. Why did I share that information? Because now this person really knows how chaotic I am, how embarrassing. And to top it off, I feel worse about the shitty mum that I am. Sometimes I wish I was one of those people who could walk into an environment or walk into a room and just instantly click with people, even one. I admire women who can do that. My sister, she's one of them. Ever since we were little kids, anytime we'd go on a family holiday, she'd make a friend every single time. And my parents would be like, oh, do we really you're forcing us to meet up with the parents? Like, do we really have to hang out with these people? And I remember countless times when my sister would just make friends. That's not me. I'm awkward. I don't click with people straight away. That's just not how I'm wired. I wish I was. When you're already in a fragile state, like in early motherhood, that exposure, that entering a room and not clicking with people can feel completely overwhelming. The village I crave is low pressure. It's come as you are. It's dress up if you can, but don't worry if you couldn't. You don't have to prove that you're coping. In fact, it's better that you're honest if you're not. You don't have to present your baby as thriving. It's okay if your baby's wearing a mismatching outfit from yesterday. You just exist as you are, and the people that are your village love you and care about you regardless. And maybe the village that I imagine is also more practical and emotional too, which sounds like a bit of a conflict with what I'm saying. I want a village that is truly based on genuine concern and care for each other. But I also think a village is not just about us existing parallel to each other, having our own struggles. When my best friend and I first had our babies together, basically weeks apart, we would spend days roaming around the shops, struggling with naps, changing nappies side by side in parents' rooms, spending way too much of our unpaid parental leave on well-deserved coffees. It was so natural. We would just hold each other's babies so the other one could finish her lunch. Or, you ran out of spare clothes. Don't worry, I've got some. Just take these. I know you were needing a new teether. I passed the chemist on the way here and got you one. This is natural. It's the intertwining of both of us. It's the support that we both need. It's stepping in naturally for each other. Again, this is not a criticism of mums groups. It's just that to me, a mums group is a lesson, is a class. You can go, if you go to learn and to participate in a conversation, that's fantastic. And if you happen to click with somebody, bonus. And I wish I knew this before. I wish someone had said to me before, don't expect miracles. It's an information session, basically. It's where you go to learn about how to care for your baby and how to care for yourself. You might actually connect with somebody, but don't feel bad if you don't. Again, I'm going to say this for the 1000th time. So hopefully, if you're going to reach out to me after this episode, please let it be that this resonated with you and not that I pissed you off because you loved your mother's group. I'm not judging or criticizing mums groups. I don't think mums groups are the problem. I think we just sometimes expect these structured collectives, these structured environments to deliver the depth that should grow over time naturally. I was disappointed with my experience, and I think it was just my expectations, and I know that many women have the same. If your mum group turned out to be your village, I love that for you, truly. It just wasn't the case for me, and I hope that sharing that and why it didn't work for me helps others that might have had the same experience or currently facing the same situation. If you view them as a lesson and you're lucky enough to click with someone, then that's fantastic. What I don't want is for you to attend a mum's group and walk out feeling worse than you did when you walked in because your expectations were that you were going to walk out with a village. I feel like I've insulted everyone. So once again, I'm here to remind you to trust your gut, love your pooch, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.